million US dollars in chicken neck and back is what we import to Jamaica annually. 13 million US dollars in beef offals, that's like the liver and the kidney. Beef trimmings is 16 million US. And then rice is 84 million US dollars. And so you might be asking, listen, why do we import so much US dollars worth of animal and rice? Well, it's simply because Jamaicans cannot afford to buy chicken, beef, or fish to feed their families. So they must resort to the parts of the animals, cuts and the trimmings. Now here's a disclaimer. I'm not in the PMP shadow cabinet, so what I'm about to say may not contain their views. But this is something I've been speaking and writing about for years. In other words, the pot are boiled, but the food not enough, and enough of the family them were out. And I would like you to think for yourself and re-examine the data of some long-held beliefs of what others have tried to impose on you, saying that this is supposed to be in your best interest. Today I want to highlight one of those beliefs and say why our people as a result remain unhealthy with obesity, high blood pressure and other primary health ailments. It's because they can't afford to buy a balanced food basket. And for the non-vegetarians, this is because the price of chicken meat is out of their reach. They're not going to any other things. You see, for decades, Jamaica has had a 250% protection on chicken. Globally, in other countries, the average import duty rate on chicken is 24%. So why are we paying 250%? Or why is the duty rate 250% in Jamaica? Is this really in our people's national interest? Or are we serving the interest of very few individuals, in particular 2 companies? Now, before you all have a knee-jerk reaction and say, but Lisa, it helps protect it because it helps with local production. Let us look at the data rather than emotion. You see, the international cost breakdown to produce a chicken is feed, largely corn. That makes up 61% of a chicken. Baby chicks is 18%. You have to house them, that's 7%. Other inputs are about 10%, and labor is only 4%. We don't make feed in Jamaica. We don't produce corn. We don't produce wheat. We don't produce soybean. Those are the inputs that go into the feed for a chicken. So what we refer to as feed mills in Jamaica are largely big silos and a mixer that blend up everything together. These imported inputs, and that goes into the final product, much in the same way that a mason, you see, mix up concrete, which are sandstone, cement, and water. But at least in concrete, all of those inputs are produced in Jamaica. So the local feed is totally, for chicken, is actually totally imported. So in effect, the local Jamaican direct cost input of chicken is less than 10%. Therefore, I really challenge the logic of providing excessive duty protections to any product with a local input that is less than 10%. I've been saying it for years. All of the inputs in animal feed are traded as commodities in the marketplace globally. And like oil, that price fluctuates in keeping with the laws of supply and demand. I bet you can't tell me how much corn has come down over the last year. The price of corn has fallen from $801 US in April 2022 to less than $392.50 today. Check it for yourself on tradingeconomics.com. You see, on straight mathematical terms, with that kind of 50% reduction in the cost of feed, which represents 61% of the cost input of a chicken, our chicken prices should have gone down by at least 30%. But guess what? They went down. So who's really benefiting? Certainly not the Jamaican people whose citizens find it hard to afford a whole chicken for dinner on a daily basis. Certainly not the workers at the factory whose pay remains much the same, and certainly not the Jamaican economy, as there's been very little growth in the agricultural sector generally for years. Did you know that if you apply for a permit to import a container load of chicken in any form, back parts, breast, wing, thigh, whatever, the Ministry of Agriculture first refers the matter to the 2 chicken monopoly producers to find out if they have any objections. Tell them to challenge me on it. What do you think will be their response? With that kind of system in place, there's effectively no real competition in the marketplace. As a matter of fact, there's no marketplace. You pay what the 2 local monopolies decide it should be. And since it is so obvious, you will wonder, well, why is this backward policy been allowed to continue for decades? Well, the false fallacy is that we're saving the livelihood of 30,000 small farmers. But is this really true? And maybe after this video, you'll find them finding farmers who said, no, we've benefited, etc. But ask yourself if it is really true. Is it really true? It is the same two producers who sell the baby chicks to small farmers, the same two producers who sell the feed to small farmers. So it is in their interest to put the price of chicken as high as it can be, so that they can convince us that they're actually acting in our best interest. So you see, when a mother comes into my constituency office and says, like they do all the time, and especially now with back to school, why MP, I need help with 50 chicken and some people send the people and go back to school. Either the state or me will actually purchase the chickens or the feed. But guess where I'm purchasing it from? The same people. So it's a vicious cycle that's not benefiting our people, and I feel so strongly about it because I'm tired of it. So here's a suggestion that might actually be in the best interest of Jamaican small farmers. And it's a suggestion. Reduce the duty on chicken to 50%, which would still be twice the international norm, and use the duty collected, because we actually don't collect any duty now, and use that duty to purchase baby chicks and distribute them free to small farmers. Then never buy it. Therefore, and you could also eliminate the duty on feed and allow anyone, any little chap man do wrong, if they need a permit to bring in container loads to bring in chicken. It should not be only the big people who get permits. The result of such a policy or suggestion would not only lower the prices for chicken, but more people would be engaged in raising chickens. Jamaica has one of the highest diabetes rates in the world, and that is directly linked to the fact that they consume so much starch and carbohydrates because they need to feel full. They can't afford to buy protein. And this is because the average family is not feeding their families properly. So Jamaica has a policy that has kept the price of chicken high, which only benefits two chicken-producing monopolies. And it puts the nation at a health risk, and then it imposes on the general poor public to pay a high price for chicken, thereby having an unhealthy diet. You know, Marcus Garvey said, and his birthday was recent, that chance has never really satisfied the hope of a suffering people. And it's a powerful declaration, because it means that to change ourselves positively and indeed the lives of the oppressed, we need to have deliberate purpose of effecting change. Not to tinker along and hope that things will fix themselves. That is a foolhardy approach and quite frankly timid. I've bemoaned over the years that it's probably easier to buy a politician than to become one. So no, look, let's make everyone benefit, not only those with deep pockets. And I've been saying this for years. Let us re-examine our policies for Jamaicans to actually be able to afford healthy food, especially protein. It's time that we re-examine the duty protections that we have on chicken.
So there you have it. This has been a wonderful commentary and well researched by our beloved Queen on her birthday, August 20. Happy birthday to you, and hope you have a wonderful birthday, your 49th birthday. But this is a very serious matter for me. Let me tell you right off the bat, I am not a meat eater. I have not eaten meat since around 2005, 2006, and therefore I am not really affected by what it is that most Jamaicans who eat meat, especially chicken, are going through. However, what it shows really is how impotent our representatives are. Here is she, a member of parliament, elected by the people of Southeastern St. Anne for what, four terms? Yes. And she has these concerns, and there's not a damn thing she can do about it because of the democratic system that we have. The Constitution gives the sole power to cabinet to make these decisions that are alleged to be in our best interest. At the end of the day, the politicians are relying on big business and small business and workers to get themselves elected to the parliament. It's a very expensive exercise, political campaign and campaigning. And so they take money from all sorts in order to be able to fund their campaign. And this is the reason why I ask the question, how much money are these broilers donating to the political parties? Or is it more sinister than that? Are they even putting money directly into politicians' pockets? We must ask the question, because if what the politicians are doing is not in our best interest, if the decisions they make to make these broilers super rich are not in our best interest, they must have taken these decisions because it is in their best interest. And it is they who are benefiting from 250% duty on chicken meats, chicken parts, in order to protect the interest of a few minorities. This system that we have set up does not allow for our members of parliament to make decisions on their own in our best interest. They are not MPs of a constituency that they can say, we are going to establish duty-free arrangements or establish tax benefits or anything of that nature in order to influence business and prices of food and so on in their constituency. We don't have that. Everything is centralized and everything is controlled by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance and the Cabinet. And so our members of Parliament are literally useless. They can go to Parliament, stand up and make a whole heap of noise, but they can do nothing. And so the system itself is flawed and subject to exploitation by a few people who have the means, money especially, or kind, in order to influence policies in their interest against our interest. Now, what is it that we can do about it? We are not by any means totally helpless. As a matter of fact, we have everything now in our control, especially now that we have somebody like Elisa HANNA who is so passionate on the subject, right? This is her moment and her chance. She is very wealthy. She is also a major buyer of chicken meats. Her companies, KFC and I believe Popeyes, are major buyers of chicken meat. She has it within her means to start a foundation, a research foundation maybe, hire some people, ask the Research and Development Department of the Ministry of Agriculture to do the research for her, sponsor it, pay for it, to come up with a local blend of chicken feed that would give our chicken a unique flavor. They would have to test it. It doesn't have to take a long time, I'm sure. And use inputs that are local and cost effective and plentiful. You know, the thing is wild and all over the place. And if we can get that blend, and it's not cockroaches, it's not too bad. If we can get that blend of local feeds, right, she can then produce it because she has a farm and she has money. You know, she can set up a factory, produce that local blend, and then sell it as a competition to the local farmers who are not in the broilers system, those independent people, right? And then sell it to them, and then encourage those, and then buy chicken for her stores, for KFC and for Popeyes and whichever else one they have, right? And I hope other people, other business people who are running restaurants, the hotels and so on, would buy into it and then get the price of the chicken meat down, because the feed is very high, 61%. I mean, if we can cut that down, we can cut down the price of the chicken meat, not to mention chicken eggs, which I like very much. I eat eggs, yes. I eat the eggs. You also can use the chicken manure for manure for crops. I hear it's very good. Crops thrive on it. And that too will also go down. You could create fertilizer for other crops out of the same chicken farm, and reduce the costs of fertilizers for crops, because the farmers who are depending on these fertilizers are suffering too high prices, because the fertilizers inputs are coming from abroad. We can change all of that, Lisa. If you decide to take on this project, it's your idea, you own it. Talk about the import substitution and the saving of foreign exchange, reduction of the import cost to Jamaica. All of this will be beneficial. Are you up for the challenge, Lisa? Are you up for it? I think you are, and I think you should really consider it. Think about it with the family, talk about it with the family, and decide whether or not you're going to take up this challenge and make an impact on this country without even being prime minister. You will have absolute control over the situation, even though you are not prime minister, you're not in a cabinet. This is an amazing opportunity, and I hope you will take it on, and therefore get as many persons as possible who depend upon chicken, protein for diet, if that is what they are into. I mean, I'm not into it, but if they are into it, right, that is what they can do to bring the price down, take charge of the market from these monopolies. And then you will see something new and something different will happen. Something very revolutionary in this country, where business people and the small man are cooperating to take control of their lives. I hope, my viewers and subscribers, that I will hear from you what your comments are, and also if you have your own suggestions as to how we can cauterize this monopoly situation. Of course, we can take them to court, but why take them to court? Just beat them at their own game. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. And of course, I did not give you my customary welcome, but this has been Jamaica 411. I thank you so much for joining me and keeping me company as usual, my subscribers and my many viewers. I thank you. And I also appreciate it. Please remember to share this video, because we need to sensitize people about what is going on in this country. It's not just about PNP and JLP. It's about government. It's a governmental problem, and we need to take control of it once and for all. So take good care of yourself. Walk good.